Hello and namaste, my beautiful friends. I am Jill Loftus of Nuit Astrology. Welcome to your planetary energy forecast for the week of January the 27th, 2025. Quick shout out because I have a child who has a birthday today, so sending them all my love and exciting energy towards their soul return, because I really like this week astrologically. There is a lot of really good energy to work with this week. Now, as we begin the week, the first thing to keep in mind is we have this sweet little connection between Uranus and Taurus and Venus in Pisces. Now, Venus loves to be in Pisces. It's very immersive love, creative love, deeply compassionate, deeply connected, very intuitive, really cares, really feels. And to have this lovely connection with Uranus in the sign that Venus rules, which is Taurus, I do see this as a moment of opportunity. I do see this as a bit of positive energy that can really connect those two areas of life for you. So if you know where Pisces and Taurus are for you, please look for the opportunities, look for the spark that could arise this week. This energy is already in play over the weekend, so you will feel it right away. But remember that sextiles are just opportunities, and we have to say yes. We have to move through that open door. Now, another thing to remember that is toning this entire week is we still have that deep merging of the North Node newly in Pisces, and of course, therefore, the South Node standing right across the sky in Virgo. But that North Node in Pisces is touching Neptune. They are in contact, very close contact, what astrologers call conjunction, from now all the way through the end of February. So this is an energy that's going to feel very consistent in its inconsistency. It's going to feel very, it's destabilizing energy. It is really a lot. It is the depths, the watery depths of Pisces. Neptune is incredibly empowered in this sign. And the node here is just all of a sudden volume up. You know, the water level goes from your knees to above your head. So this is not always comfortable for everyone. And it's very important, if you do know your chart at all, to know where the very last degrees of Pisces are. This is going to be an area that is going to be in huge focus literally for the next year. So this is an understanding that can come to us more of a feeling state, more of an intuitive state. This is not necessarily a linear understanding. This is more of a sense or an intuitive hit, right? But just understand that that's there, because not everything is going to be as it appears. And so whether you're really excited about the future or really afraid, there's something in the middle there, because there's a lot of this Piscean uncertainty flowing. Now that Pisces energy becomes more amplified as we continue into next month. But at the end of this month here, I'm really liking this week. Mercury will move into the sign of Aquarius. Now, this will help provide a little bit of detachment, a little step back and understand the bigger picture. Now, remember, anytime something glides into Aquarius, it is immediately going to meet Pluto now. And so this is a transformational moment, a transformational idea. Think the new thought, have the new conversation, meet the new person, understand the new paradigm. This is something to pay attention to through the entire week. Now, another big circle goes on the calendar on this second day of the week, on the Tuesday, the January 28th, because Venus will step into her shadow zone. So as we've spoken before about retrogrades, remember, it's like you're traversing a pathway that has a certain number of steps, and then you realize you're going to have to walk all the way back to the beginning and then do it again. So there's a repetitive nature to this. This also means whenever Venus enters her shadow or is in her retrograde phase, it impacts our love life. It impacts what we value, what matters to us. It has an impact upon resources. It has an impact upon the markets and finances and money. Now, often Venus retrograde can bring a certain sense of false optimism, and so that is something that you want to be observant of over these next few months. It enters this shadow zone on Tuesday, but it does not emerge from the full retrograde period until mid-May. So that's a pretty long stretch. And it's going to be traversing these last few degrees of Pisces, 24 to 29, and then stepping into the 0 point of Aries and going all the way to 10 Aries before she starts making her journey back. So she's going from the very end of the zodiac into the very beginning of the zodiac and back again. And so this is an area of life where you are going to have to perhaps have multiple experiences, multiple conversations, make a new choice, and then that choice will have to be tested or confirmed once we get to the end of May. So don't count anyone in or out romantically until from now until the end of May. Don't count any type of financial, new financial venture that comes along. You know, you're going to want to make sure that it gets all the way to the end of May. Now, of course, we can't just stop doing those things, right? We can't stop living, loving, managing our finances, etc. But do understand that the caution flag is up. And you may wish to look back 8 years ago. Venus goes through about an 8-year cycle, so this could bring you some ideas about what the message is for this particular retrograde. Now, of course, our Taurans and Librans are going to feel this more intensely. And we also want to remember that Mars itself is also in retrograde. So to have both of those kind of personal planets in retrograde, that's a lot, okay? That's a lot of redoing, reconsidering. Remember, when the planets are retrograde, they're actually a little closer to the Earth mathematically, and so it's like there's more power, there's more juice. So you may even see a lot of issues coming up that relate to Venusian situations or Venusian ruled things like women in general, women's rights, women's sovereignty, which is something that's coming up. Unfortunately, is still a problem in many parts of the world and will always need to be reinforced while we are in the Kali Yuga phase, right? All right. So another thing about the Venus retrograde, and I might make this caution too many times, but hear me out. Just be cautious about if you change your aesthetic, or you know, all of a sudden you want to just buy clothing that's a different style, or make a dramatic change to your appearance, you know, really cut the hair, color the hair. This is not a good time for that, and it's also even not the greatest time for conscious physical adjustments like plastic surgery or beauty treatments even can maybe not go exactly according to plan. So just keep that in mind from the 28th till May 16th. Our new moon for the month of January occurs on Wednesday the 29th at 7:36 a.m. Eastern. It's at 9 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. Now, I'm really seeing this as, you know, you really have three opportunities to have a new year this year. You got the calendar new year, which we had on January 1st. This is the lunar new year, if you follow the Chinese calendar. And then, of course, you have the astrological new year, which will come in March when the sun goes to 0 degrees of Aries. But this is another reinvention initiation, and because it's in Aquarius and Pluto is newly in Aquarius, it's very beautiful to set wonderful new intentions around that wedge of your astrological pie, wherever that is in your chart. Now, it is also blessed with the sun trining Gemini. Okay, that's gorgeous, okay? This new moon and with the sun and the moon like flowing beautifully with Gemini. Now, Jupiter is in Gemini. I said Gemini, not Jupiter. Jupiter in Gemini. So, but this is like a touch with the benefic, a blessing from the philosopher, the generous endowment energy of Jupiter. So I'm loving that. That's beautiful airflow and lots of ideas. So ground down those ideas into something that you really want to manifest. The only thing to kind of keep an eye on is we are having essentially all week a clash, a difficult angle between Mars, our action planet, moving retrograde in Cancer, and Chiron, which is in Aries. So Chiron is the part of us that feels damaged, unaccepted, unloved, unappreciated, hurt, not complete, right? That we all have this piece of us, of that energy in us. And so when Mars in oh so tender, overly reactive Cancer, it can cause some tensions, especially tensions between like family and responsibilities and your desire to be independent. It can bring up material from the childhood for sure, and also just bring up a lot of emotional baggage. So realize that you are being guided to resolve a lot of those problems and lean into this new moon as a way to kind of detach, be a little bit more Aquarian, a little more visionary about what you've been through, what you're going through, and where you are going. Now, the end of the week, or end of the week and end of the month, January 31st, we begin to have this pileup, what astrologers call a stellium, in Pisces. So this means we are going to have 3 or more planets less than 3 degrees apart. And in fact, they're even tighter than that. We have the North Node in Pisces, we have Neptune in Pisces, and we have Venus in Pisces, all grouped together. Now remember, that means they are also all standing across the sky from the South Node in Virgo, which will amplify the shadow of Virgo, the harshness that comes from being too critical, from being a martyr, from wanting things only to go your way, from this deep desire to feel needed that can make you sometimes interfere with other people or feel like you always have the answers for other people. So be observant of that stellium. When the planets merge together like that, it is just a huge amount of energy pulsing out. And so then we enter February, and as we enter February, that is the big story, that stellium, that grouping of energy in Pisces. And so lean into your perfect Piscean dream, that higher level, the be the change. You know, don't get bogged down in the suffering of everything. Instead, decide what you're going to do. Even if you can't take sometimes outward actions, you can take internal spiritual actions. You can pray, you can meditate, you can chant. Just by sending out this energy in the highest, in everyone's highest and best interest, this alone really does help the whole world, the whole universe. So don't forget that element, especially if you fall into some of the shadow of Pisces, which can just feel like you pick up every bit of pain and suffering. There's an enormous amount of fear in the world right now. Everyone knows it. Even the people who aren't looking at the astrology, they know something big is coming, and big things are coming. Big changes are coming. We have this huge shift starting this spring with Neptune going into Aries and then Saturn going into Aries. This is a dramatic year of major change. So lean into those practices that feed you, that help support you, but also help you understand that there's a bigger picture here. There is aid and support, and your best possible, highest vibrational actions and intention really does matter. So, all right, I am out of time to do the tarot this week. I apologize and thank you for your patience. This week is actually a pretty good one. Let's take advantage of it, lean into that new moon, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Namaste.